Hey everybody, Marisa here with I Can See, giving you a clairvoyant perspective on the world today. And my dad is here, of course.
Hello, everybody.
We do the show together. Used to be called Answers Heaven Speaks. Still kind of up in the air with what we're going to call it, but right now it's I Can See because I have a podcast called I Can See. It's Patreon hosted, so you'd have to go to patreon.com/discovering intuition. And we've got like every day we put up a post with like one of the channelings from me and my dad's shows over the course of like, I don't know, the last probably like 10 years. I mean, there's a lot of material that Demi is going through and she's creating like a couple minute episode every day on I Can See with Marisa Morris. But you do have to go over to Patreon to find that. And then you can have it go into your podcast player. So it plays on my car. I'll get in my car and all of a sudden I'll hear Papa talking and I'm like, huh? And I'm like, oh, it's me and Papa talking on our podcast. So it's kind of cool to hear all the old teachings. And speaking of old teachings, I found one on Peter today, but I'll let Papa say hi real quick while I pull up this Peter teaching thing that we have. And yeah, so.
Hey, everybody. Hello, everybody. Real quick prayer. God, fill me with your words. Well, basically, my words every day with God is, please take my will, that your will be done. And I did that at the first moment of awareness this morning. And in fact, it was while Tani was waiting for me to open up the door for her to come in and say goodbye to go to school. It's just something I do. I just immediately give my will over to God. So I think you're going to find that your life is better if you start giving your will over to the Father. I mean, it's in the Lord's Prayer. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy will be done.
Yeah, I said that this morning. That prayer helped Matthew. We had to pop a blister on his knee. And I started saying the Lord's Prayer, and right that part, it's thy will be done. What was it? On earth as it is in heaven or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's like the as above, so below that we talk about like in New Age stuff, you know, they like the law of correspondence, the law of similarities. It's like as above, so below. If you visualize it up there, it immediately happens down here. So I was like, as it is in heaven or whatever, and then all of a sudden he's screaming like we're killing him. I'm like, man, I'm surprised that CPS didn't show up on our doorstep this morning because like 5 people didn't call us. He was screaming so loud because he ran his knee across the ground at RC Willey when we were looking at refrigerators. We got a new refrigerator the other day. Got delivered yesterday. Ooh, it's nice. It's a nice one. And he got like a rug burn on his knee. So over the course of like since Saturday, I think is when we went there. Sunday.
Who got a rug burn?
Matthew.
Your son.
The rug burn has turned into like a blister that kind of looks like the blisters that I have on my hands. And it's like, it was like all like, you know, you could tell it was like really tight. And like yesterday when I went to volunteer at the school, he was walking around out by the bathroom with his leg pulled up, like his jeans pulled up because it was bothering him. So I was like, wow, it's really bothering him. So we decided, well, we should probably just pop it because it's like so like it was just like pressure. And so Jeff had his alcohol and his little, you know, all his little tools and everything, like made it look so scary. He comes out with like this big platter of tools and like alcohol and a little bandage and everything. And Matthew's like, no. So Jeff had to like pin him down. I'm literally hiding in my closet down here because I can't handle anything. I'm like, I'm going to be downstairs. And I was like, crawled into the closet. And I was like, because he was screaming so loud. But then all of a sudden I'm like, our Father who art in heaven. And I started praying and he stopped screaming. It's so much, you know, he was still screaming. And then Jeff's like, it's done. And then Matthew's like, don't do it. And Jeff's like, it's done. It's done. Nothing, you're done. He's like, it is done. And then like the crying stops. It's just like, it's so funny, you know, like you can't take a Band-Aid off a kid without like, no, don't do it. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's done. That's it. That's how life is usually sometimes. Actually, I should probably take these headphones. I just realized I had these headphones on. Do I sound clear or do I sound muffled? These headphones are very bad. They're not very good microphone.
No, you sound fine. Anyway, just to finish,
yeah,
God gave us a great gift. He said, I give you free will. You can do whatever you want to do. So think about it. What can you give to God? You can't give him your car because he's the one that's responsible for all the materials that made your car. I mean, You can't give him your car. You can't give him your children. You can't give him your house. You can't give God anything except back your will. It's the best gift you can give to God is give back your will to God and let God's will guide you each day. It took me forever to figure that one out, but it's really come in
So
handy.
give God our will as a way of saying thank you for God giving us our own free will. I think sometimes having
Yeah,
free will is like a loaded. It's
yeah, it's
it's a,
like a loaded gun. Don't pull the
yeah,
trigger.
kind of like giving women the free will to either kill their baby or not kill their baby. It's like regardless, at the end of the day, they're going to feel guilty regardless of which way they went because it's like the
Oh,
weight of the world on your shoulders. So yeah, God gives us free will and goes, yeah, go screw up as much as you want. I drew
yeah.
this picture the other day. This guy, he's a chiropractor, he's a well-known chiropractor, but I'm not going to share his name. But I was working with him yesterday, and I drew this chart, which doesn't really make much sense, but it's like it has all these different like things in it. This is a picture of him. And then there's like Jacob's ladder down there in the leg. I see like a little person down in the foot. There's the ball and chain from being married. But what I found interesting was they talked about trumpets up here. Up in what would be considered like its heart or whatever. And then you said something about thrones yesterday in the last show. Didn't you say something about thrones, angels, or something like that?
I
And
don't
there was
remember
seven
talking.
Christ. But what
Possible.
I found interesting was up above at the very top up here where you can't see it, it says free will begins here. So it was at the very top, it said free will, and then above it, it said the will of God, and then it said free will, and then it said no will. And no will was like the knees down on this like higher self person. You can't, it's just, it is what it is. And like, there's no reality down there because there's no amount of God that can help you once you drop down that low. And it was like, it says fallen angels, Elohim, the Elohim seat to govern there. And it says the Antichrist. And what I found very interesting was down here in the Antichrist, one of the bubbles that's the Antichrist, it says robots. I channel all this, so I don't really like remember drawing it. I kind of do, but kind of don't. And I just find that very, very interesting that they wrote robots. And I was just kind of just drawing whatever came through, And then I drew a whole picture of on this next page, there's a whole picture of a robot. And I think that Elon Musk is creating robots, but in the robots, it said something about here. It's a robot. And it says Lucifer's robots. And it's they have souls, it said. And they're ruled by, I can't remember who it said they're ruled by, but the District of Light. But anyway, it was very interesting. I haven't drawn my little charts in a long time, and I decided I was going to draw one. But I'm wondering, like, are souls going to choose to incarnate into AIs? Like, that's like the, do you think that
that's a
souls will be
really
like,
good question.
Yeah.
That's a real good question. Ask Jesus that. Is he around?
Okay, let's ask the guides. Let's definitely ask them. I'm going to ask them. Yeah, I just heard yes. Interesting. Hold on, let me see. Let's get Jesus and Peter. Peter is here. Peter is like, I'm here and I have my book. He's excited because I found an old transcript of, what's the book called that Peter wrote that's in the gnostic, the Nag Hammadi or something like that?
The Revelation of Peter. The Peter.
Oh,
Yeah,
Revelation.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
The Revelations by Peter. It's not
Oh,
like
okay.
John.
Okay.
It's not like John's Revelation, which is in the book of the Bible. But Peter's Revelation was used by the Muslim faith
Oh,
to describe Jesus, and they say Jesus was never hung, was never crucified, and
I believe that.
they took that from that little part of Peter's Revelation that said that Jesus was over in the tree laughing. Remember?
Hmm.
Well,
I see it now.
that was the fake Jesus, and that's what the Muslim faith um, relies upon. They say, no, Jesus
Ah,
wasn't crucified. He was over in a tree. If you don't believe me, read Peter's book. you
The
know.
tree is who
So
we are. They said that the tree is who we are. We are a tree. Alpheus is here. Remember, I used to say Alpheus looked like a tree. My guide Alpheus is here. He says, I am a tree. Many of you are a tree. Many of you live within a tree. Many of you are consciousness. Many of you are souls. Many of you are mermaids and all these mythological creatures. The aspect of self, oh my gosh, interesting. The aspect of self that we are is consciousness. So we are what we think we are. So we are consciousness, but we can live in absolutely anything. So the tree is the self that is grounded to this earth until it's done. So even after you die, you may pass through like your tree and then you can come back.
well, we
Interesting. So they're
asked
showing like,
we
yeah.
we asked Peter. I remember when we did this channeling. I remember going, no way, no way, Peter. What does this all mean? And
Mm-hmm.
so he came in. I remember it's in the book. It's been so long, and I
Yeah.
certainly haven't read what the book is now.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember him explaining, no, no, that was. He either explained that that was a false prophet, Jesus, that was in the
Mm-hmm.
tree, or he says that was a metaphor
Mm-hmm.
of of Jesus. It was a metaphor of
Mm-hmm.
Jesus being in a tree, laughing at death. What he was basically saying is, why do we think of Jesus and think of resurrection and think of death and pain? We should be thinking of Jesus as joy and
Yeah.
happiness and love and life, not, oh, poor Jesus, he got hung on a cross. It must have really hurt a lot,
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Right.
know,
Yeah.
nails in his hands, nails in his feet. Oh my God, it's so terrible, terrible, terrible. But yes, the resurrection was very important, and that's why I mentioned to you earlier. You said, "Oh no, maybe it was they crucified a fake Jesus or something."
Mm-hmm.
And Peter said, "There will be many, many false prophets, false prophets, false prophets."
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Let's ask Peter. What the heck is the
Yeah.
deal with Jesus in the tree, and why did the Muslims accept that as proof that Jesus was not resurrected? Why did they, Peter, why did they use your words in your revelation to say that Jesus was not crucified and not resurrected?
He's saying, I don't know that they necessarily used my words, so to speak. He says, when
Oh, I think they're very specific. I
he says when
think,
they the Muslims,
I don't know
like
if
when
it
he
was
wrote them, it wasn't for them.
when
Like
you
I
wrote
said,
that.
I was asking him,
Well, there
like,
were no Muslims. There weren't any Muslims for 600 more years.
oh, gotcha. Okay,
Uh,
I was like, he didn't write that for them, but they used
no, they
that
didn't. They
because
didn't
that,
even exist. They didn't exist. But they used the Book of Revelation from the Nag Hammadi texts to say, "See, Jesus really wasn't crucified."
oh,
So
okay,
they are using Peter's book to claim that Jesus never was crucified, so then he never was resurrected, and that
he
he
says there's,
probably went off and had a wife and children and all this other stuff. Well, it's like what I wrote to you earlier. It doesn't matter what you say or what you think. Don't forget, there were 12 witnesses of Jesus walking through a wall,
mm-hmm,
just appearing, coming through a wall. Now, if you can show me somebody else on this earth that has the ability to walk through a wall, then maybe I'll give some other consideration to some of these things that other religions may say. But
yeah,
no, no, I believe Jesus was what he was. I believe that he was God. I believe he came down and suffered so that he knew what the feeling was. He created us, and then he came down to find out what pain was, what we have to experience in our lives. Now, we don't all get crucified, but we still live with pain in many ways. We
mm-hmm,
live with the goodness of the earth. We live with the goodness that God has given us, but there's a lot of pain that we deal with too. And Jesus came down as God to see what it was like. What is it like? I created you. Now I need to know what it's like to be you. And so that's why Jesus loves us all, because he created us and he knows what we're going through. That's why he says, just trust in me, trust in me. Ask me. I can do anything. Jesus can do anything. He can walk through walls. He can go from Jerusalem to up to Bethlehem uh, in the matter of seconds. He can travel 80 miles away, 85 miles. He can be in one place, and then in the next moment he's 85 miles away. Now, no
And
human
Peter
can do
says,
that. No human can
yeah,
do that, but
you
Jesus
can in
can.
consciousness. Your consciousness can travel. So
Oh yeah,
Peter's saying,
our
yeah,
consciousness. So obviously, Jesus in his what's the state that moron I want to say moron. It's
Morancha,
what is it?
The Morancha state.
Morancha. In a
Yeah,
Morancha state is probably like a dream state. In other words, you can move from Australia to Los Angeles in a thought
just by
and be
thinking
there.
about it.
And be there. You can be there. You can just by thinking it, you're there. Now that's something we can probably do in our Morancha life, but we don't all come down here. We don't. Nobody comes back to live on Earth.
Mhm.
Jesus came down to say, look, this is what you're going to have to deal with. This is what you're going to have to deal with. But it's all part of a plan. So we live, according to the Arancha book, we live 570 more lives before we get to go into spirit life. We still live in like a soul life for 570 lives. Some are short, some are long, but this is just one of them. Being on Earth is just one of them. It's we're experiencing something that we will have for when we leave and we go somewhere
Mhm.
else. We'll look back and go, oh my God, that was either really good or that was really bad. But it was good. It was good that we went through it, or I went through it. So it's all an
Peter's saying we
experience.
store all of our information in our trees. So before we leave this planet, before we leave this earth, we all have like a tree in essence over in the not the Morancha world, but it's like a tree planted onto the earth. And our souls are in essence just like like this, like leaned up against a tree with like our little toes sticking into the water, like just like chilling. We're like our souls are like dreaming and they're leaning up against a tree. And what happens is Peter says, look at it like this. He says, you fall back against the tree, you're relaxing. He says, and then the little person that you are that lives inside of you, the hologram that you are, will jump into that tree. And in that tree, everything about being is stored. Oh wow, I just saw a tree and I saw Peter like digging a hole next to it. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm trying to dig something up for you. And I was like, what is it? And Rosemary's like, yeah, what is it? Tell us. And John's like, quiet, Rosemary. And then James is like, like clearing his throat. As Peter's digging a hole next to this tree, all the apostles are coming out. They weren't all here before. What in the world? So they're saying the soul is daydreaming or sleeping or dreaming. So the soul is dreaming, but the soul, in essence, everything that the soul dreams, look at it like everything that you dream, everything you go through in your mind, those memories will go into your tree. That's interesting. I see everyone like leaning up against a tree and like transmitting all this information into it. Peter says the reason why they use my text, he says the texts that were written that were not exactly what the church wrote, they were not exactly what's he saying, like monitored or he's saying that there's lots of texts that they base that on, that there's other texts that they base that opinion on, that belief on. And he's saying that there is an aspect of the fact that the Jesus that was killed was like a twin of Jesus. I swear there's two Jesuses. There's like two. Did they say that he had two? In the book that we wrote, or our Peter and whatever book, the Peter and is it Constantine?
That was
They
very
said he has 10.
confusing. That was very confusing. It was very confusing about that portion of the book, because, like I say, Muslims have used it. They have used Peter's book.
Mm-hmm.
to claim. And I believe Jesus, I believe that Peter told us, no, that's just a metaphor. It's just a
Mm-hmm.
metaphor. God, Jesus was up in the tree laughing at death,
Mm-hmm. Well,
saying,
because there's every one of us has,
you can't kill me. You can
well,
try to
his
kill me,
soul.
but you can't kill me.
And that was true, but it was, but so what they're showing, what Peter's showing, I'm asking Peter, like, show me like something that I've never seen before so I can understand. And he shows me like a cannon. He's showing me like a cannon that you light the thing and then it goes and blows off. Why are you showing
Yeah.
me a cannon? He goes, just bear with me. Showing me a cannon. He lights the little thing on fire, like the dynamite thing or whatever. And then the cannon flies in the air. He's showing me like this is where like the war is fought from. This is where the staging ground is. He says right here, and he says this is part of the soul plane. He says this is where your consciousness goes. This is where your spirit goes. This is where all the dimensions of you can exist in this reality. So that if you have to be pulled out immediately out of the illusion, out of the reality in which you're in, you get pulled out this way. Like you'll go to sleep and not wake up, basically. But uh yeah, he says the question about the Muslims, he says it's not totally like a correct question because maybe they do base it on that a little bit, but there's more that they base things off of, and there's other stuff that they base that more off of. There's other texts and stuff like that. As far as Jesus laughing, so there is the us that is inside of us that is always joyous, that is always happy, that is always free, and that us is the one that resides within the tree. So yeah, in the tree. So he's saying that I keep asking, did Jesus really get killed or was it a twin? And he was saying like, there's so many different realities. You guys were in that reality. Yes, Jesus was killed. In another reality, no, he was not. So there's all these different realities. For every reality, this is what the Holy Spirit, Sophia just came in. She says, for every reality where you turn left, there's a reality where you turned right. So you have to understand where we are coming from, where we're looking at you from. Every reality that could ever possibly exist was a probability of that happening in every single second that you made a choice. So if you forgot to bring down, say, your sweater downstairs in the house and you're getting in the car to leave, there's going to be a you that remembered the sweater. But because you remember the sweater, then you had a chance to go, oh, I should go get that lipstick or whatever. And then you leave with that, but the other one, you don't have the lipstick. So there's all these different realities, and they go off into in quantum proportions. There's millions and millions and millions and millions of them. But as you attain higher conscious levels, as you are able to tune into higher level beings, you'll be able to see the different realities and how they worked out. And this is how people who have higher intelligence ratios, they have higher IQs, it's because they have access to their genius or their higher aspect of self that has access to all the probable things that would happen in any sort of situation. So, oh, I keep doing that. Oh, I leave my body and then I stop channeling. It's this new thing. I swear it's the February 15th thing. It's affecting me. When I'm channeling, I'm still talking up there, but then I notice that my body's not talking anymore. I did this in Wednesday night class. The whole, like every few minutes, I would just stop talking and I'd be like, I'm not talking. Am I? It's just like the channeling just stops because I go up there and I can actually touch Peter. I can see him. I can feel him. Whereas before, he was always just a dancing hologram. Like I can actually see him. He's kind of good looking. I mean, he's cute. He reminds me of no, he doesn't remind me of anybody. I was like, he doesn't remind me of anyone. He's just got like brown hair and like kind of like a small face, and he's always wearing those robes. But today he's wearing he's wearing his robes that he always wears.
You're talking about Peter?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's right up there. I can see him now when I go into trance. I'm sitting right there next to him.
Well, you know how we've talked about just a little bit a different subject. How we talk about there's different realities, and you've even mentioned that.
Mm-hmm.
I was sitting here and I was watching TV last night, and I'm watching all these conservative news announcers. That it's universal. They're all saying the same thing. They're all saying it feels like Christmas every day. It's Christmas every day because
What?
Trump is doing all the things that we wanted to see happen to get rid of the evil within our government. We've been
Mhm.
talking about it for years and years. And now that Trump has been elected, he's doing it. He's doing it with executive orders or whatever. He's clamping down on the bureaucracies. He's firing all these bad people. He's doing all these things, and it's like Christmas every day. Um, but I was thinking last night as I was watching it, I was thinking, you know what? In another reality, Kamala Harris was elected, and we're
Yeah,
still
yeah.
we're still living through hell. Can you imagine her being the president right now? I mean, oh, I'm a middle class girl. I mean, that's all she ever
No,
talks about.
I
Oh,
was
I'm
raised
a middle
working at
class.
McDonald's.
Ay, 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 and I worked at McDonald's and she didn't work at McDonald's. Can you imagine
It's
her
so
being
funny.
president compared to everything that Trump is doing right now? So anyway, I was thinking last night, I was thinking, oh my God, I'm getting to live in the good reality and I'm not having to live in the bad reality anymore. And so anyway, I don't know why I brought that up, but it was
I
something I
want to
was
show you
thinking
this
about
video
last night.
of Megan, or is it Megan Kelly?
Oh, I like
Megan
Megyn
Kelly.
Kelly. Yeah, Megyn
Yeah, she
Kelly,
did
I
a
like.
video of her talking about Kamala Harris. It showed up on my news feed, and it was Kamala Harris showed up at the fires to as her first speech, like as like non-president or whatever. It was just on my
Uh-huh.
news feed. I was laughing so hard because I was like, I don't know what she just said there. Because Kamala Harris talking about how I
Nobody
don't even know
knows
what she
what
was
she
talking about. She was
says.
so
She
it's
doesn't
like,
she doesn't speak in
is that normal for her that she just doesn't make sense?
yeah, no, she's never made sense about anything she said. They
How
just
would it
call
you
they
make
just
somebody
say that
vice
she
president doesn't make any sense?
it's a
Like she's
word
got it.
salad.
That's got to just be a personality, like a on-air personality. She must actually make sense in real life. I mean, it's like
No, she never makes sense. Everybody goes, "What'd she just say?"
that's
I
what I
mean,
did. I was like, huh? What? Like I actually listened to it like 6 times. Like, and
yeah,
I'm
no.
not even into listening to it, but I was like, what did she just say? Like, I don't even know what
No,
she just said.
she talks without saying anything. And you just go, "What?
Yeah.
What?
It's like,
What'd
is
she
she
just
getting
say?"
paid by the word or something like that? It's like psychics. She's like a psychic. Psychics like the gypsies that get paid by the minute, and they're just like, oh, let me see here. I'm looking into your future, and what I see is promise and this and that. It's like, what? Like seriously, like you just said nothing to me, and now I owe you money or whatever. Yeah, it was. I can't find it. It was Megan Kelly. She had like a little clip on there, and I don't know where
Yeah,
it
I
was.
like
But,
Megan. In fact, every time I watch Megan Kelly, she reminds me of you.
oh, I like her a lot. She's funny. She cracks
Yeah.
me up.
Well, she says whatever
Um,
is on her mind.
yeah, she does.
And because you channel, you say what's on your mind. You say everything. It's like,
Say what's on the
so when
guy's
I'm
mind. I don't need
watching,
to say what's on my mind. If I said what was on my mind, nobody would want to hear me. Let
I like
me
her
see if it is.
guests. She has good guests. Some of them are very liberal, but she puts up with it because she used to be liberal.
She
Um,
was?
yeah, she used to be real liberal. All her family is liberal. She grew up that way, and
Hmm.
she was against Trump in the beginning. She was the one that said, you're defaming women and blah blah blah,
Oh,
and
right. I
Trump.
remember that. She got a really bad rap for that, huh?
Yeah, and Trump. It was in the first debate, and it was the very first question, and she was ripping on Trump for putting women down or whatever, and Trump's response was classic. His
Hmm.
response was only Rosie O'Donnell.
Ah, that's funny.
It was funny. It was very funny.
Only
And
Rosie O'Donnell.
it really disarmed everybody. But anyway, yeah, she was always very liberal, and even when she was with Fox, she was like the liberal on the show or
Oh,
on the
okay.
channel. And
Huh.
and then she went to NBC News, very liberal, very 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 liberal. But then she got in a fallout with them, and she got fired, and but still got like $25 million or something. And so
She's
then,
clearly
well,
opinionated. I mean,
oh
very
yeah,
opinionated, obviously.
she's very opinionated. She's
Yeah.
a what is she again? She's a Scorpio dog.
Scorpio. I know she was Scorpio. I know she's a dog. Dogs are very opinionated. Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
think her birthday is like November 10th or something like that, or November 6th or something like that.
Oh my
and
God, she has so
she's
many shorts. She has like a million shorts. I was like, oh, I'll notice the short if it's there. If I can
well, she's
play it,
got a
but
crew.
yeah.
She's got four people that work for her and
Oh,
have always worked for her, and they do all that. They do all her
oh,
research and they do her shorts and all those things. But she becomes guests on other people's shows too, so I get to see her not just when she does her show, which is daily,
mm-hmm.
but she becomes a guest, on like Tucker Carlson or
That's
on
cool. I want to
the
go on Tucker Carlson. That'd be cool.
all the
Um,
other ones. I'd just
I
like
want
to
to go to
see you get on what was it, something soul? What is it?
that's what I was just going to bring up just now. There's the next level soul or a next
Yeah.
something. But yeah, I want to be on that really bad because he has all
Why
these
don't you
channels on
have
there, and
Why
so
don't you have Demi be a pain in the butt and just contact One Level Soul? I think that's the name of
next
it.
level soul. Anyone know
Yeah.
any next level soul? Anybody know anybody over there? I've tried sending something to their website like about a year and a half ago. Dr. Susie told me to contact them because she kept thinking next level soul for me, and I didn't. They weren't even. He wasn't even really that big yet. But what he did was he did a channeling event and had like 10,000 people show up. It was online, and he had all these channels on there that were like the worst channel. No, there was a couple of good people. I didn't go to it because it was like $350. I didn't want to pay for it, but a few people I can clearly see that they're not channeling. Like they've got their eyes closed and they're making their stupid voices and they're saying all their, oh, what's expected? It's like there's one guy that actually channels someone called The Guides, and I like, oh, cool, I'm gonna listen to him, and he's channeling what he's read. Like, and so I asked the guys about that today. I was outside walking. I was doing one of my coaching clients. I do boxer appointments, so like it's like a walkie-talkie back and forth, and every once in a while the walkie-talkie doesn't work or it stops working, and I'm like, it didn't work. I need to ask the guides to say again, whatever it was they were saying. So I'll literally see like a little like book above my head, and I'll just rechannel what I just channeled, like word for word almost. It's just like, oh, it just came through because it was stored somewhere in me that remembers, but I don't remember what I just said. So now I need to re-say it. And it comes through, but I see that above channeled heads, I'll see a little book above their head. So I think the book means like a memory, like they're memorized whatever they're going to say or something like that. But that just doesn't seem right to be a channel and be memorizing what you're going to say on a worldwide channeling event that people are watching, actually expecting divine knowledge.
That's not channeling. That's not
It's
channeling.
not channeling. It's channeling your memory. I mean, what are they channeling? They're channeling, but they're channeling their memory. I mean, it may have come from their higher self before, but even if
That's
you
that's
just,
still not
even if
that's
I
still not
I
channeling.
know,
Channeling is live.
and the
It's
energy that comes through when you channel live is so much different. Like if I ask right now, like, oh, I want to channel Rosemary, and then if I say I'm going to channel Sophia, and then I say, okay, I want to channel the highest possible clear frequency vibration that I can possibly connect with. I want to channel that right now. Like everybody will feel the difference of like a different energy coming through, and I think that channels need to educate people about that because people are listening, watching his show going like, ooh, this channel said the world's coming to an end. There's one lady that says, but three people on his show recently have said the middle of February, the world is going to change and it's not going to go back to the way it was.
well,
That's what
you
we
said
said
that,
too.
and you've been saying that for 3 months, and you had it pinned right to the day. It's either February 13 or February 14. There's going to be a
Yeah, it's
shift.
right around Valentine's.
We're going to have a shift. I don't know if anybody's going to notice it, but something's going to change come
Yeah.
February 14th, and
I said,
that's
we're
the
going to be
middle.
like those people with the tin
There's
cap,
only 20.
tin.
There's only 28 days in February, so that's the middle of the month. 14th is the middle of the month.
Yeah, it is the middle of the month. And
Yeah.
it's not far from now. Let's see, we're in the 7th, so 7 more days. And so let me see something real quick. Let me ask Jesus real quick. I said, Jesus, could you step into my energy right now? Only for the highest and best good. I don't want to see like future events or anything. I just want to see what the energy looks like and have people, if they want to, they can close their eyes and just feel what the energy feels like right now. Just kind of imagine a big bubble around you, like a snow globe around you. You have your big snow globe around you, and it's nice and clear. We're going to send out energy right now to zero it out, to clear it out, take out anything that doesn't belong to you, anything that's not for your highest and best good, as well as Papa and me. We're just going to clear that all out. We ask that the Holy Spirit, or that which is timeless, that which does not experience time, enter into this channel's field now, and then say, I am me in 8 days. And just feel I feel like I'm being dragged by my solar plexus. I'm like this, like, in the cartoons, they drag somebody like this and they bend backwards, like it's like they're pulling me like by my solar plexus, and I feel like I'm bent backwards and someone's yanking me like on a leash. now me in 7 days, 8 days, 9 days, 10 days, I feel like I'm standing up straight again. It's almost like I'm being yanked. I don't know if you guys feel anything, write it in the comments so I can see. But it's definitely feels very different. It feels like the earth is like not clean, but sterile, maybe. Do you feel a difference if you say I'm me in 8 days? You get in your bubble and you feel that? It's like
Are you talking to
I
me
feel
or
like I'm
somebody else?
yeah. Do you feel a difference?
Oh no, you mentioned something about being pulled or whatever, and it reminded
Yeah.
me of when I was at the edge of my seawall, and Drew had put up a new brick wall, but it
Uh-huh.
wasn't cemented in. And I think I
Uh-huh.
had been in California or something, and I came back, and I went out and I leaned on the wall, and it broke. And
Oh geez.
I started falling. I would have fallen about 10 feet onto concrete before falling from there to the beach.
Oh my
And
gosh.
as I was falling, I was trying to figure out how I was going to keep myself from getting hurt. Um, that's where my brain was already when the bricks went, and
Mm-hmm.
I was falling. When somebody pulled me by the back of the shirt like this and pulled me back.
Oh,
There's
who was
nobody
it?
there. Nobody was there.
Are you serious?
Nobody was there.
You
Somebody just,
felt so nobody was there, but you felt somebody pull you by your shirt.
I felt the shirt get tight on my
That was an
chest.
angel.
Yeah, they pulled me back from getting
You never
hurt.
told me about that. That's amazing, Papa.
Oh, I think I told you it was about,
No,
gosh, 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago.
I would remember that. Then angel saved you. I mean, that you felt someone pull you by your
Oh
shirt.
yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
that's kind of what I feel like.
I
I feel
was
like someone's
dead. I
pulling
mean,
me.
no, I was gone. I was ready to fall. There's nothing to hold me back because all my weight had gone with the bricks to rest against the
And
bricks,
how
and the
high up was
bricks
it? It
went,
was
and
high as a cliff.
I started to go, and next thing I know, I'm being pulled back by my shirt.
Wow,
There's
I have
nobody
chills.
there. There's nobody
Wow.
there. So I wasn't meant to fall, and so they saved me. I guess
Wow.
we can actually have accidents, but our angels are here to protect us, to keep us from going off of our plan. And
Yeah.
obviously, hurting myself at that time was not in my plan.
Wow. Well,
And
thank you. I just heard Peter say
who was that?
Duncan.
Ask Peter. Who
Duncan
was it?
Hines.
I always think Eden. I figure it was Eden, but
I literally
somebody
just heard Duncan.
who?
Duncan Hines. And then I remember Demi.
that's a
No, remember Demi. So this is
that's a
actually a
cake.
story. I don't
Duncan
know who.
Hines
I know
is a
it's a
cake.
cake, but no. But 2 years ago, Demi had a crush on a guy at our office. I don't know if it was 2 years ago. When was this happening? So this is what Peter
This
says.
happened.
People come
This
into our
happened
lives to create
2 years.
signatures, to create energies within our field, and to change the path of people's lives. So if somebody comes into our life and like that wouldn't usually be in our life, and they have an energy that we need in order to like save us from something, then they do. But Demi's going to freak out when I say this because I don't remember how long ago this was, but the only person I've ever known that's named Duncan is this guy Duncan that she thought was so cute. And then she felt like he wasn't giving her enough attention, so she ended up going out with this guy that was a total loser. Ended up with him for a little while, and now she's with the best husband ever. So I feel like even that just that guy Duncan's presence in her life kind of like created such like a shift for her because it was like, oh, she's not giving me enough attention. I'm going to go be with this other person. But like, it's interesting because they're showing his energy, the higher self energy that comes in. They're called game changers, is what they're calling it, a game changer. So somebody will come into our lives, and they'll change our game around just by being there because they're bringing in like a substitute story. And so what he did was he brought in a story, but that branched out to you, that branched out to everyone. It branched out like it's like I wonder if that guy even exists anymore. I should ask Incubator Space if he still works there because he was like around for like a few days and then I never saw him again. I'm wondering if they're saying there are higher selves. Their job is to enter into somebody's life and bring in packets of information, and those packets of information get distributed throughout an entire soul family. So that was going to happen to you, and somehow, some way, him entering into our field saved you. But if that wasn't him, it was just the story got changed. Like you were supposed to die that day, like you were going to die. It's like, oh, we're not on the mission anymore. We're not doing shows. We're not doing this. We're not doing that. It was just like you were just gonna go. Your soul was like you're just gonna go. But it was like something somehow got reconstructed in our field, and it was like boom, no, you're staying, and they just pulled you back. That's interesting. Oh, I would
Yeah,
have
I
just died
mean,
if you died falling off a
it
cliff
was
down there in
it it
Mexico.
was it was physically felt. It was physically felt, and I mean,
Can you find out when that was?
I'll never
Did
forget.
you write about it in your journal?
No, so it had to be over 2 years ago because no, I hadn't started doing notes yet. I started that in February of
2022, right?
2022, I think. February of
Yeah, because
22.
I
I
moved in
mean, I
21,
can go.
and then I had my mental breakdown in February of 2022. So,
No, for whatever it was, because so many things were happening with Tawny, and I would always say, "Oh, I'll remember when this happened. Oh, I'll remember when she had her first word. Oh, I'll remember when she had her first steps. I'll remember when she first went to school." And then you forget. You
yeah,
don't. It all just gets blended in. So a couple years ago, I decided to start like doing a diary, and I don't do
yeah.
it every day. I don't do it every day, but I don't let more than 5 days go by, and then I kind of fill things in if I have to. Sometimes I'll do it day after day after day after day, like around the election. I kept doing notes every day. November
Oh, okay.
5th, 6th, 7 days. And so there are times when I'll actually do it when. Like
You have more to
I
say.
had done notes about 3 days ago. I did the notes, and then the very next day, Tawny came in and told me that a bully, was had tried to pick a fight with her and was hitting her, and she ended up kicking him and making him cry, and she she won her fight. So
Where'd she
I
kick him?
kind
In the
of,
stomach? And then between his legs? Did she kick him in the face? Where did she kick him? In the leg?
well, I think it's one of those where you kind of jump in the air, and then what I'm talking about. You kind
Go
of jump in
Tawny.
the air and then kick.
Yeah, like a karate
You know,
kid
it,
kick.
Yeah, it's almost like you're going to kick with the left foot and you don't, and then you end up kicking with the right foot. I think that's what
Oh,
she did,
wow.
and she got him
Wow.
somewhere where it really hurt. And
You sounds like
so
it.
the bully ended up crying in front of all the kids, losing a fight to Tawny. I
Good for
couldn't
Tawny.
resist. I had to get that into my notes before I
Oh,
forgot
yeah,
it.
totally.
But anyway,
Well, she
yeah,
stood up to
I
the
don't.
bully.
So it must have been about, I don't know, maybe 3 years ago now. Time goes by so doggone fast. It's just.
I know time really does go by fast. And I was listening to one of the channelings that we did from 2011. I found a tape recorder that has all of our teachings on it, like that I used. It wasn't a phone or anything; it was a device, like a little tape recorder. And I was
Yeah.
listening to them, and then I was listening to something that we did November 11th of 11. So 11, 11,
Yeah,
11.
yeah, 11, 11, 11. Very big day, very big day. A lot of things changed on 11, 11, 11.
Yeah, it was really interesting. It was actually a tape from that day, and in the tape I say, me and my dad are going to start writing a book. So we're meeting later, and my teacher was like, "Oh, you guys are going to write a book, huh?" Like because he was kind of jealous because that's when I was working with my first spiritual teacher. But it was a tape of the entire class that I had over at his house, and I was like, "Oh, I'm going to go meet with my dad, and we're going to channel or whatever." But in that in the tape, we were listening to Sir Isaac Newton talk through like a trumpet circles are like they put these things
We
on the
didn't,
table and they float.
I was not involved in any of the things that you do until
Yeah,
no,
no, it was creepy. We were doing like a
until
seance type of
December,
thing.
until December
Okay.
of 2011. It was during our first sessions that we were told that on 11, 11,
So it must have been 12,
11.
12, 12.
It wasn't
It
12,
must
12,
have been 12,
12.
12, 12 when the tape was.
It was before 12, 12, 12, 12. It was December of 2011, and they told us that on 11, 11, 11, there had been a big shift, and that no longer was the earth going to welcome third level souls and below.
Uh-huh.
Only fourth level and
Oh.
above. That's why I said there's an amazing generation of kids that were born starting around November 11th of 2011. And
Uh-huh.
so, but there's a lot of great kids that have been born prior to 2011 also. But
Yeah. Those are
they're
the
the
indigo
ones.
children.
Yeah, it's everybody who's been born since 2011 are like, they're really gifted children. All the kids that are what 13 and under right now are going to be
Yeah.
phenomenal, phenomenal in the future. They're going to be our future. And
Yeah.
so I always remember that. I always remember 11/11/11 was when things really changed. And then when 12/12/12 came, you know, there were some changes as well. I remember that. But I always remember the 11/11/11.
Yeah.
So anyway, we
Yeah.
were
Well,
talking
the
about
energy was
notes. And
so different. It
yeah, I
was
don't.
so different. Um,
Yeah.
there's and I listened to the tapes in here. There it's from he was playing there from the 70s, and it was a spirit talking through a trumpet in a trumpet circle, and it's Sir Isaac Newton supposedly, and this is where mediums would go into trance, and everybody would sit around the table, and they would just sit there, and then they would use the energy from the people that were sitting around the table to make these trumpets float in the air, and they would just float, and voices would come out of them. That would freak me out. I wouldn't be able to handle that type of mediumship. But like that, those kind of seance rooms are what existed like inside the White House up until the 70s.
I
So,
remember you channeling about trumpets, and it had something to do with the trees. There were trees, there were trumpets, there were the sounds that came out of the trumpet that were sort of like DNA strands, I think,
oh geez, that would be really
creating,
interesting to hear that.
yeah, that created all the different, well, like Chinese and Americans and Europeans and Australians and Africans and Middle Easterns.
Uh-huh.
All of them are different races that came from the different notes, from the different trumpets to the
Oh my
different
gosh.
trees. And it was the
Whoa.
trees that dropped down the different races. Um,
Whoa.
yeah, I
That's the race that
remember.
those are the people leaning up against their tree, the souls. That's a soul. So up above this note, up above this person that I just drew, it says note A. Note A, that's the person I drew. It says A up there. And then that's interesting. So it was a frequency or a note that created this one. It says 12. It says 12 robed men, and I see 12 robed men, and they're all like sitting around this big thing, and there's the trees there, and they're just like creating reality. And I think that's that thing that you see. Remember, you see like the people around like the big well or whatever. You see God kind of around that creating reality.
No,
You
what?
said you used to see a vision or something of like a bubble or something, and you see like God creating reality inside of it. What Peter's saying is if you want to get to the root of creation, he says all you have to do is just ask. He says she'll tell you. And I see Alana. That's an old guide. There's Alana from like way back there, and he says the root of creation is within your mind. He said, if you were not conscious anymore, reality wouldn't be here anymore. Every single person and every single human being has their own reality. He said, there's a level of us that if we are not thinking of reality, then reality does not exist. Which is why he says the world today is so confusing, because many people's realities include things that they've seen on the television box, and they create their reality based on something they've seen there. You can't prove that if you died, that reality would still be here. You can't prove that. You can only prove that what's here is here, and you're here right now. But once you're not here anymore, you can't ever prove that everything went with you or nothing exists anymore. He says that's the key here. He says any guide you've ever thought up, any guide that we've ever thought up, any angel, any teacher that you have within your field is within your field because you think it's within your field. God is with you because you believe God is with you. You're in a relationship because you believe you're in a relationship. You're going to have this amount of money because you believe you're going to have this amount of money. It's all about belief, and the root of all creation, understand this, is the light and the love that falls within each and every individual. And I said, but that doesn't make any sense, Peter. And I said, I still want to know whether Jesus is a twin or not. And he said, yes, I'm telling you, if you believe it, then it's true. He says, this reality Jesus was not, this reality Jesus was. He says, there's so many different realities. He says, and when the planet shifts in about a week, a bunch of those realities are all going to be smushed together. Let's put it this way. A bunch of realities are all going to get smushed together, and it's going to be hard to determine what truth is. The only truth that we'll say there is love. And that love is what we strive for so much in this lifetime. and love is what we want to feel, love and togetherness and acceptance. But understand that when the realities begin smushing together, for lack of a better word, people are either only going to feel love or they're going to feel no love. So there's going to be the people that feel love, and there's going to be the people that just cannot feel it whatsoever. There's only going to be two realities, and these realities are realities that your oversouls, or the beings that created you, created. So technically, you created the reality, but reality is going to shift and change, and you'll see it's just very hard to explain because we've never gone through it. We've never been through a planetary ascension while alive, while in a waking state. That's interesting. So no one's ever had a planet ascend and move into a higher dimension where human beings just stayed alive and experienced it.
We're going into a new dimension?
Yes.
In a
We
week?
entered into a new dimension on October 8th. October 8th, all of the things that were not supposed to be began to fall apart. So if you're in a relationship, if you're in a marriage, in a business, working in a job, in something that just was not your path, but you still chose to be alive, those things will just have fallen away. Things that were supposed to be in your life that you wanted in your life or that you forgot long ago, but things that were not in your life that were supposed to be there began to come back to you. So many of you had like old relationships rekindle October 7th, 8th, 9th. Many of you, that's when Holly moved here. Holly moved here on the 8th. You and Drew broke up on the 7th or 8th or something like that, right?
No, 18th of September.
18th of September?
Yeah.
Well, October 8th was the, are you sure it's September 17th or 18th?
I can go back to my notes. I know exactly
I know,
what it was.
So October 8th is where the things shifted. I just have to go back and see my calendar from those days. But anyways, what Peter's saying is everything's been shifting. It's always shifting. Things continue to shift. And when we use the word shift, it's kind of taken lightly because we use it so much. But this shift, it's like a shift in the plates in the world, but the planetary shift that we have been talking about since 2011, that's what's happening right now. And it began to happen in a higher but more amplified magnitude in 2020, 19 and 20, like, before COVID, it began happening. And now is when what was happening then is solidifying itself. So look at the planet is moving into a new dimension. Anyone that's not in that dimension will get yanked into that dimension. Oh, that was that feeling I was having where I felt like I was being yanked. Someone was pulling me by my solar plexus. Like when you got pulled.
Yeah.
Let me see. I am now me in a month. I feel like in a month, I'm like in tree position and I'm like on my tippy toes and I'm just spinning in a circle. Is everyone else doing that? Everyone else is doing that too. Everyone else is like in tree position, just spinning in a circle on the planet. What does that mean though? What geez, Bella. That was not a normal bark. Here you go. Mom here. That's why Bella. Oh, Rhodey too. That's why Bella barked like that.
Marisa, I hate to say it, but we need to wrap up.
Is it an hour?
Any last words by Jesus to take us into Super Bowl weekend?
Let's see. Peter's like, go team.
Who's gonna win? Who's gonna win? Who's gonna win?
Is anyone gray and black? That's Raiders, guys. They're not sure. Are the Raiders in it?
No.
No.
It's the
Who's in it?
The Eagles and the Chiefs.
Eagles and the Chiefs. I heard Eagles. I don't know who's supposed to win but Peter's like, it's all set up. It's all a hoax. I'm like, what? Football? You can't set it up. You can. Yeah. Oh, you can pay off.
Everybody's saying that the refs have always been in the Kansas City Chiefs' favor. So,
he just showed me the ref. He showed me the black and white, and he said it's all a scam. It's all a sham. He said who's supposed to win will win because the refs are paid off. Wow. That's what he just said.
Then the Chiefs are going to win.
Wait, so the Chiefs, they say that the refs are paid off by the Chiefs? Is that like a rumor or something?
I don't know. It's just, I think it's a common thought throughout all sports people. They all seem to think that the Chiefs always get the calls and nobody else ever does. So
The Chiefs
they
have a
just,
lot of ancestors playing on in their field. Like I see like the other team that's playing the Eagles or whatever. I see like they're like one higher self above like the quarterback. I see like a few like like little angels above them and stuff like that. But when I look at the Chiefs, I literally see like a humongous person that is them. Like it's like a humongous. They have a humongous field. It's like a big leg, the big side of a body. It's like God is like standing in their field or something. And I asked, who is that? And they said, it's their ancestors will come together and they'll create this energy and they'll place it into the field. I think they do like spiritual stuff. Like they may be into like energy work or spirituality or calling in energies or something because they like their field is like strong. But that's weird. That's really crazy vision I just saw. So the Chiefs. Interesting. Very interesting. I wanted to play this voice for you real quick. We won't listen to it for any longer than 10 seconds. But this is the voice supposedly of Sir Isaac Newton.
we're down to less than 4 minutes.
Yeah, we got a second. We got like probably about a minute, but I just want to play this so you can hear this real quick. Present. Share screen. Oh, I'm not gonna be able to share it. I don't. Oh yeah. Here we go. Can you hear it? They go into a realm of what is called of the soul, where the Master Jesus would be what is called, as you just said, a universal master. Now, a universal master is one who goes to the entire world. It's not Mrs. Jones's master or Mr. Smith's master, but it's the master of a universal nature. And you would be an ascended master? That's what some people say. Let me look at my lapel. Okay, so that voice that you're hearing is coming out of nowhere. Like it's just a voice coming out of a little trumpet that's floating above a table. And when the session ends, you hear it go clank, 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 because it falls on the ground. Isn't that crazy?
Wow. Let's get into that a little bit more on Monday.
Okay, yeah, he talks about the different levels of consciousness and the different types of guides and all that stuff. But it's amazing because it's literally it's a trumpet that's about this tall. And I did the trumpet. So my teacher was so excited because I had so much energy. He said that he wanted me to start to try and do the trumpets with him. So we sat there one time for like probably 4 hours just staring at the trumpet, and I watched it start to move and lift a little bit. And I was like, "What?" I got all freaked out. But he said that people that were mediums back in that was back in the 70s and 80s. Those are his grandparents, have all these tapes of Sir Isaac Newton and Einstein and all these people talking, but their voices were coming out of nowhere. And he used to watch them. He'd see them do them. So it's not like it was a hoax or whatever, but people would always try and prove them like hoaxes, and they try and scare the medium or be like, "Oh, you have like strings lifting up this thing or whatever," but it was real. And the information that's on there is really, really cool. It's very cool. So anyways, we'll talk about it more on Monday. So anyways, guys, we'll see you. Have a great weekend. Super Bowl's this weekend. Stay safe.
Yeah.
Stay away from Yeah. What, Matthew, that is not good.
We just went back to skinny again. Okay, bye everybody. We gotta go. Gotta go.
All right. We'll see you later, guys. Okay. Bye.
Have a good weekend.
See you on Monday. Intuitionmedia.vhx.tv. Go sign up for my app. Please. It's only $5. Okay. Bye. I need to end.